Hey, welcome back everyone to Manny School of Arts, and thank you for joining me for another episode in the Element of Space series. Over the next few videos, we'll be looking at the complex world of linear perspective and learning some basic fundamentals to improve your three-dimensional drawings. My goal is to provide you with a solid foundation of linear perspective that you can apply to your illustrations, drawings, and paintings. If you find the content in this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you these tutorials. Linear perspective is a method that was discovered or rediscovered, depending on who you talk to, by an architect by the name of Filippo Brunelleschi in the early 1400s. And basically, it's a method of depicting our three-dimensional world onto a two-dimensional surface. So what is perspective anyways? Well, perspective is nothing more than viewing something from a particular point of view. So when we're doing linear perspective, all that means is that we will be drawing all of our objects from a particular point of view. All right, so the most basic tools that you're going to need in order to do linear perspective, of course, is paper. You want the paper to be, this is a small piece of paper, but typically you want something to be nice and big because often you're going to have vanishing points that fall outside of the picture plane. You're going to need some pencils and erasers. And you're going to want some long and short rulers, not only for drawing lines, but also for measuring. And you want to have some tape, right, so that you can secure your paper down to your table. Now, additional tools that you might want to get to make life easier include T-square. And T-squares come in all kinds of different sizes, and they're made out of different materials. I like this particular one because it's made out of wood and plastic. And it allows me to see underneath whenever I'm drawing. But you can get them in aluminum or solid wood or one like this. Triangles, okay? Triangles are helpful. You write them along the T-square when you need to create vertical lines or if you have 45-degree angles that you need to use, okay? They come in different sizes and they're made out of different materials. So you get the ones, I like the plastic ones because I can see the drawing underneath it. And then you want to make sure that the table that you're working on, you do not have to have a drafting table, but you do want to make sure that the edge of the table that you're going to be sliding your T-square on is nice and straight, okay? And that's about it. All right. Now, I know that drawing in perspective can be a little bit challenging at times because there's a lot of angles and a lot of math and stuff involved. But I'm going to try to make this as simple as I possibly can. Now, when we are working in perspective, there's a lot of terms that we have to know, so they're universal. So what I'm going to do for this short little video is I'm going to actually show you what each one of these terms actually means. Okay? And the first one, of course, is the horizon line. So the horizon line is nothing more than a horizontal line that is always located at your eye level. Okay, so, and we want to label that horizon line or eye line. I prefer eye line because it reminds me that that is where my eyes should be, the height of my eyes. Okay. The next thing that you need to know is where you're going to be standing. That's called a station point. So in this case, I'm going to put the station point down here. And that is where, in theory, I would be sitting or standing when I'm drawing my image here. Okay. The next thing that we need a vertical line coming from that vanishing point. So if you've never used a triangle, you simply hold this here against the edge of the table, line up your dot, and draw your line. Now this vertical line, keep that really light. That just basically tells you whether the object is directly in front of you, to the right of you, or to the left of you. Next thing that we need to worry about are vanishing points. If you are working in one-point perspective, then the vanishing point would generally be right where this vertical line and the horizon line meet, right there. However, if you're working with two-point perspective, then The vanishing points could be anywhere on this horizon line depending on the angles that you're looking at, and I'll show you how to figure that out a little bit later. And in 3-point perspective, you would have the 2 out here, but then you have one either way up or way down depending on, again, what it is that you're drawing. Okay, the next thing that we need to worry about is a plane. A plane is nothing more than a 2-dimensional surface. Okay? So imagine if I wanted to draw a square, I could do something as simple as this. So horizontal, space, horizontal, then take my triangle, and draw my square. And I'm not going to measure on this one, but you get the idea. So this would be considered a plane. This would be the front plane. Now let's say that I wanted to draw the right plane. Let's say that this is a box and I wanted to draw the right plane of this box, right? That's another flat surface. So in this case, what I would have to do is take the bottom of the square and take it to the vanishing point. Keep it light. You're gonna have to do some erasing, so don't make everything too dark. I make mine dark, otherwise the camera won't pick it up. Okay. These 2 lines are called convergence lines because they meet at a given point, in this case the vanishing point. Okay. And then to complete the side plane, all I need is a vertical line. In this case, I'm just going to estimate right there. And then I'll get rid of a little bit of this so you guys can see. So now we have the front plane and the side plane. Now, if you wanted to draw the top plane of this box, you simply line up the vanishing point and the top left side of the box, and then line up the back line here for your horizontal line, and this would be the top plane. Top, that's a P. Okay. Now, if I wanted to do an inclined plane is any plane that doesn't form a 90-degree angle. So let's say that I wanted to do a plane that's tilting in this direction. Okay, I'm going to take this point and this point to the vanishing point. And then I just got to decide how wide that ramp's going to be. Now, in later videos, I'll show you how to do actual measurements, but for this one, I'll just put this parallel to the front one. And so this plane is an inclined plane because it is tilting. It does not form a 90-degree to the horizon line. All right, and the last term that we need to look at are parallel lines, okay? And parallel simply means 2 or more lines that are equidistant from each other, so they never meet. So when we look at this example, this line, and this line are all parallel to each other. This line, and this line are parallel to each other as well. However, these are not. They are convergent lines, so don't get those confused. When you are working with vanishing points, you're always going to have convergent lines that go towards into the distance. All right, let's take a look at how this box would look if we put it in the middle and if we put it on the right. Keep in mind that we're still at the same station point and the vanishing point is still at the same spot. Okay, so I'm going to use my T-square and I'm just going to very lightly transfer the bottom and the top of the box. Then I'm going to use my triangle to establish the vertical lines. So we're going to have one here, and we're not measuring at this point. We're just doing it by eye. We'll do measuring later on. Okay, so this is going to be a box that's directly underneath the vanishing point, and this is to the right, and of course this one is to the left. And I want to show you this so that you guys can see how the image of the same box changes if you were to move the box. So the first thing that I want to do is take the top of the box to the vanishing point. On both sides. Sorry, I'm getting a kind of a bit of a shadow there and it's hard to see. There we go, that's better. So the process is really not that hard in one-point perspective. Okay, so what we have here, we have the front, the tops, and now we need to figure out where that back line is. So if the box is supposed to be the same, I just very easily transfer that horizontal line to the other two boxes here. Okay. And then on this one, we have to complete the left plane. I better switch to a regular pencil. There we go. Okay. So, same box, approximately the same size. This one is on the left and below the horizon line. So you can see the front, the right, and the top. This one is directly underneath the vanishing point. So therefore, we can only see the top and the front. And this one is to the right and below the horizon line. So we see the top, the front, and the left side. All right, so now let's take a look at how this box would change if we change the position of the horizon line. So on this first one, I'm going to put the horizon line way up high. And I'm going to put the vanishing point over here. On the second one, I'm going to bring the horizon line closer to the center, keeping the vanishing point in the same relative location. And on this one, we're going to bring the horizon line down low so that you guys can see how the image changes depending on your point of view, your horizon, right? You remember your horizon line represents the location of your eye level. Okay, so here we go. First thing that I need to do is run these lines to the vanishing point. So line up my vanishing point to the top of the box. Just like that. You'll often see me do this right here where I'll put my pencil on the vanishing point to use it as a pivot point. Okay. And then next, I need to decide where to cut off the back. And again, I'm not measuring, I'm just doing a demo here. So I'm going to cut it off right there. And then complete the back. Okay. Now let's see what happens when we do this one. So I'm going to go ahead and again connect these to the vanishing point. And decide where the back's going to go on this one. We'll put it here. And then the horizontal line in the back. And lastly, we'll do this one here. vanishing point, vanishing point, vanishing point. All right, cut off the back. So this time I'm gonna make it here. And right where that one stops, that would be the location of the horizontal one. All right, so let's take a look at what we got. Because the horizon line is way up high, that tells us that we're well above the object. So we're looking down at the object. So we can clearly see the top of the object, the front of the object, and the left side of the object because the vanishing point is to the left. Here, when we move the horizon line down, right, because we were coming down, you can see you don't see as much as the top, right, because it's getting very close to the horizon line. We can still see the front and we can still see the side. And then here, the horizon line went below the object. So now we can't see the top at all. We can see the bottom, the left side, and the front. All right, so lastly for this week, I'm going to show you what happens if the object is above and below the horizon line. And I'm also going to show you how to draw an object here that is see-through. So I went ahead and made a rectangle that is, part of it is below the horizon line, part is above. And now what I want to do is take that to the vanishing point, and the vanishing point on this side as well, the bottom. And then I want to make a decision as to where the back of this box is going to be. So I'm going to just go ahead and make it right about there. Right there. Now, because this box is big and our horizon line is somewhere in the middle, which means our eyes are right here in the middle of this box, there's no way you're going to see the top nor the bottom, right? So all we see is the front plane, and in this case, the left plane, because of the location of the vanishing point, okay? Now, the last one I'm going to show you for this week is how to make something see-through. So let's say that I have a simple little box here. I want to go here, take that to the vanishing point. So what I'm doing is I'm establishing the bottom plane first. So I kind of missed a little bit, and that's not a problem. So I'll just extend that this way a little bit. Boom. So there's the bottom plane. Get rid of some of this. Now, let's just go ahead and start with the back, okay? The neat thing about perspective is that once you understand the rules, you can draw forward or backwards, it doesn't matter. So in this case, I'm going to decide more or less how tall this back wall is going to be, this back plane. And then using my triangle, I'm going to bring that up. Okay, so now I have the floor and I have the back wall. Now, there are a couple of ways that I could do it. I can do this right here and bring up this line and estimate where it's going to go. And now it's just a matter of lining up my vanishing point to that back wall, right? Because that's where I decided where the height was going to be. And so this becomes, right here, the left wall. So you got the left wall, the back wall, the floor. Or I could do it this way. I could line up the back wall here. Again, I'm lining it up to this back plane. Coming across. And then bringing this up like here. So now I have this wall here. And then in theory, if I did it right, these two should line up. And I would say that that's pretty good. So there is what it would look like if this box was see-through, kind of like a fish tank. And there are times where we have to draw. Actually, there's quite a number of times where we have to draw things see-through when we're working with perspective. All right, guys, so that's where I'm going to leave you for this week. Next week, what we're going to do is we're going to take this basic information that I gave you today, and we are going to create a little cityscape. And I'll also be showing you how to add on to these different planes to create windows and doors and stuff to make these boxes look more like buildings. Okay? I hope you tune in for that, and I will see you on the next video.